Do I believe Israel's doing the right thing? I think Israel's mission to destroy Hamas and get the hostages back is a very, very good mission. Do I think all the IDF soldiers are acting perfect? No, I don't think that. I think some of them are acting in a very, very bad way, but I think as a total army, do I think the IDF has a good mission statement and they try to do the right thing? And do I think the heads of the IDF are trying to do the right thing and trying to make their soldiers do the right thing? Yes. But I think there are some rotten apples in the IDF. As in any army where millions of people serve, there are going to be some bad people because armies are run by humans, not by God, right? So there's going to be some people who fuck up. That's my answer to you. And those people need to be punished. And unfortunately, the IDF does not punish them as badly as they should, because I think there's a thing with all militaries where military does not punish their own people as badly as they should because they fight side by side, you know, in combat. And I think it's a thing with valor and brotherhood. And that's why I kind of feel like military should not judge military. They should be judged in outside courts, because when they're judged by their own people, then they don't punish them enough. Um, and that's it. I think that exists in the American military and all militaries around the world. It's not just with Israel, but people just look at it as in Israel. Listen, in every war, little kids die. Unfortunately, that's one of the tragedies of war. But do I think Israel's purposely targeting little kids? No. But I choose not to look at images of dead kids or dead people in general on both the Palestinian and Israeli side, because I don't think it's good for your mental health to look at dead people all day long. I think it's very, I think it's very toxic and very unhealthy to look at that all day long. So I choose to not surround myself with that. I'm aware of it, but I'm not going to, because I already get acid reflux, high blood pressure, nightmares, migraines, all this and everything. I'm not going to make my mental health even more, whatever. It's not about ignoring. Like, I read articles about it, but why should I look at graphic images? It's not good for me mentally. It's not good for anybody mentally. If you guys want to sit there and mope and be like crazy in your head all day long, go for it. But I'm not going to do that to myself. And for all you guys who care about the conflict, you should actually go visit Israel and go see what it's like, instead of making assumptions based on TikTok videos. Well, it is a country, and saying it's not a country, listen. I follow some of the most pro-Palestinian journalists ever on Twitter. Some of them are Palestinians. And if you want to be taken seriously in this conversation, you're not going to say Israel doesn't exist. Because if Israel doesn't exist, there is no IDF, there's no occupation, then your problem is not really a problem, because then Israel's not there. So they say Israel more than I do, because they're always talking about Israel being a problem. So denying that Israel, it just doesn't win any arguments, doesn't make any sense. So yeah, they don't do that, because just to make them sound silly. Say Israel's a problem, then say Israel doesn't exist. Like, make it make sense. It's one thing if you say Israel shouldn't exist, or I don't want Israel to exist. Say Israel doesn't exist. Yeah, whatever. Listen, I say this with the Palestinians when you talked about governments. Listen, there's some Palestinians who, in Israel Palestine, who aren't hurting anybody, who don't approve of their governments, who are just paying their bills, living their lives, taking care of their children. Ordinary people who will be fine with a two-state solution. I met some of those Palestinians when I went to the West Bank. And they're caught in the middle of this terrible situation, right? And checkpoints are for everybody, because bad people don't have "I'm a bad person" tattooed on their foreheads. So unfortunately, they have to go through checkpoints, and they have to suffer like everybody else, right? And those are the people that I really feel bad for, right? Because they're a victim of this bad situation, even though they have done nothing wrong themselves, right? They just were born Palestinian, and so they're stuck in this situation, right? So, I feel really bad for those people, because I know that they really have good intentions, and like I said, they're just a victim of this circumstance. So, yeah. Well, kids are dying all over the world. I mean, that's not unique to Israel Palestine. That's a tragedy whenever an innocent child dies. It's a tragedy, right? But I feel like this is the first time you guys are seeing war on your iPhones. I feel like the Palestinians kind of exploit injured and dead people. Like they show graphic content to try to gain the sympathy of people. I feel like other countries, people don't do that. They don't kind of exploit their dead where they show graphic material to try to get sympathy. I know Israelis don't do that as much. They kind of did that a little with October 7th, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like I've seen it like for years with the Palestinians. Like when people are dying, like like 30 people over them with a cell phone video recording it so people can be like, oh, look at this graphic image of someone dying. And I feel like that's bad in a way because I feel like I understand people are doing it to garner sympathy and support, and there's a reason for that. But I feel like, first of all, it's not good for people to see graphic images like that. It's just not good for people's mental health. Also, I feel like there's other ways to garner sympathy and support. And I also feel like it desensitizes people to violence, so people shouldn't see images like that. And also, I feel like if that's the only way you can garner support by showing people violent images of death, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like that's just, yeah. But they've been doing it for years. It's way even before this war. They were showing graphic images of their dead to people. Because I saw it all over Palestinian media. And it's really a shame that that's the route they feel they have to go. Because before October 7th, the Israeli media they didn't show, like, when there was like a terrorist attack or something, they wouldn't show the dead. They would be very, very careful to not show images out of respect for the dead in the morning. They didn't show and even with October 7th, they didn't show all the images, or they only had private viewings of it out of respect for the dead in the morning.